Captain's Log Supplemental. We finally made it back. The Ion Storm convergence was successful. We piloted through without too much issue. We were in the mirror universe for about 12 hours. Not too bad. No one was in any real danger. Fortunately, we are so remote that we aren't in the direct clutches of the Terran Empire where we were. But we did, of course, run into ourselves, as we seem to be wont to do whenever we end up transitioning. The only problem is that everyone here is kind of let down by the whole experience because our doubles are just fucking lame. You know, usually the Terran Empire doubles are always like, you know, kind of vicious and mean and scary, but ours are just a bunch of dorks that they got exiled to the outer explorations of the Empire just to get them out of everyone's hair. My double offered me tea. I don't even know what to do with it. I was hoping that he would be some kind of vicious criminal, but nope. It's just me with a goatee. Well, hopefully we won't have to go back there.
Welcome to Captain's Log Supplemental. You are joining us today for a special episode. We're taking a look at a movie that just came out for Star Trek. But before we get to that, as we always say at the top of a podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, do all those things. Those are very helpful. And as always, I am joined by co-hosts Stanford and Rob.
Hello.
We're doing Voyage Home, right? That's the movie?
Well, we'll get to it.
Boy, I hope that's a yes.
Spoiler alert, it's not.
Damn it.
And producer Mariah.
Hi there.
So yeah, do anybody have any banter? We just
boy, that's
right
I don't think that isn't going to spoil what we're about to discuss.
No. They have no idea. Banter. God damn it. Anything fun happen? Honey, you should do the whole Wendy thing.
Oh, it's not fun, but just you guys keeping an eye out for planes over where you're at.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was like right next to us. The one airplane crash. Yeah.
It was not.
I mean,
sorry,
as
compared to like
speaking.
DC, yeah, it was like what is it, 20 miles away?
Yeah, well, they said Cottman Avenue. I'm like, damn, I know where that is. Shit.
Yeah, it's Cottman and Roosevelt.
Yeah, that's like a major place.
Yeah, and I saw like the footage. The airplane was just nosedived right into that gas station. It was a
giant fireball. It was crazy.
A fucking thing. It was crazy. No, honey, tell the Wendy and your grandmother story to Chris. Chris hasn't heard it yet.
Rob didn't hear it.
No, what is this?
All right, I'm going to be as succinct as possible. Trying to think. I'm a knitting instructor. I teach knitting classes at my local yarn store. I was teaching a class, and I had a student who is kind of a problematic student. She has gotten upset at all of the teachers at this yarn store, and I guess that day was my turn. So at the end of the class, she was upset because she didn't get the answers that she wanted in that class, because the question that she had, we were going to discuss in detail in the next class. So she was very upset because she wanted the answer right then and there, which I did not have time to answer. I had a whole 2-hour class dedicated to answering her question. So she was very upset. She told me she was going to sell all of her yarn. She's not going to knit anymore. She just throws a big fit.
And you said good.
Right.
How old is this woman?
I don't know, actually. She does have gray hair, but in like the I'm not dyeing my hair anymore kind of way. So she could be in her 40s. She could be in her 50s.
Too old to be behaving like that, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
Most of us are. I explained to Liam, because we used this phrasing for him as he was growing up, that one of my students had a very big response, and her response was a lot bigger than the size of the problem. And he was like, what? Adults do that? Some of them.
Unfortunately.
Shitty adults, yeah.
So, okay, so Wendy, and the class where her question was going to get answered in a lot of detail, she decided she didn't want to go to anymore. So fine. So she asked to be refunded for that. Whatever. So then that evening, I think the next day. So I told Matthew. I even told Liam because he asked if anything exciting happened in class.
Well,
I
let
get
me
a
tell you
phone
about this
call-
one bitch, Liam.
Yeah. So I get a phone call from my mother, and she's like, "Hey, just to let you know, my grandmother went into the hospital for a planned procedure, and she's actually okay now. She's home, but she went into the hospital for this procedure, and my mom called me to be like, everything's fine, procedure's done. They're gonna keep her overnight. My nanny is 90 years old, so of course they're keeping her overnight." She's like, "But the weirdest thing happened. Someone walked by your grandmother's hospital room and heard her talking. My grandmother is English, and it's very obvious that she's English. And came into her room and said, 'Hey, are you English?' My grandmother's like, 'Yes.' She's like, 'Can you knit?'
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Which my grandmother is like, 'Yes.'
Which
Oh
what
my
a
gosh, can
weird
you
leap to make
Yeah.
right there.
Very weird leap. 'Can you fix my knitting?'
Oh my god.
This
What?
woman's name is Wendy.
Is the same person?
Turns out it's not.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
But it gets you so she goes and my grandmother hasn't even had surgery yet. She's like, "Sure, but I'm gonna have surgery, so why don't you bring it afterwards?" And she was like, No, I have it right here. So she went and got her knitting.
Oh my god.
What?
Shut the fuck up. What is
Yes.
wrong with people?
Yep. Brought it to my grandmother, who's too very nice. And honestly, I would have done the same thing because I love helping people with knitting, but it's so inappropriate. She works at the hospital too.
Oh my god.
My grandmother fixed it, and as she's fixing her work, she goes, "My daughter teaches knitting at our local yarn store at Pearls of Wisdom." And this woman is like, "Oh my gosh, I know Mariah. I go to her classes all the time."
Ugh.
So I have two crazy Wendy's as students at the yarn store.
My lord.
I don't know what it is with the name Wendy, but
I
it's
just wanna know-
not going well.
I wanted to know where was being English and being good at knitting a thing in her
Like,
mind?
what
I
a
guess.
jump. Yeah.
That's the jump that she went to.
It's like, oh my God, you're
English, you
British.
must know how to knit."
I know what to do. I'm going to have you fix my knitting.
So weird.
So, yeah, people are weird. Hopefully they
Wait.
don't listen to this.
Yeah, that's our new listener. Is that Wendy?
So speaking of weird people, we today, as I mentioned before, is a special episode. We are doing a episode on the Section 31 movie. Woo! Yay! So excited! Much wow!
Yeah.
As you can tell, we all watched it together the other day.
Yes, and this is an occasion because this is the first time that not only three of us, but all four of us have watched for the
That's true.
podcast the episode, or in this case, a movie together.
Just a disclaimer, it was so bad. Sorry. I was knitting and I was not looking at my screen for most of it. I'm just going to put that out there.
That was probably the wiser choice.
Yeah.
So do you want to do the recap then?
She probably could. Like, if we asked Mariah, like, let us know what you think that movie was about,
Oh.
it would be a better movie than what we actually watched. Spoilers for my review.
Right.
Yep. So yeah. So we open the movie with a quote about forging swords or some dumb shit. I don't know. It wasn't
My
interesting.
note is movie time, exciting logo, dumb quote, anvils.
Yeah, we were in the Terran Empire. Some dude is just hammering on a sword. Looks like they're in some type of weird vineyard or something where they're growing weird vegetables of some sort.
Terran alien vegetables.
And a young lady walks over the hill. She looks worse for wear. She then has dinner with her family. She describes in a very whispery tones about her combat trials that she's just gone through. Her and her friend, who are the only two who survived.
Yeah, it was the Terran Empire Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And the rule is in the Terran Empire, and I know this isn't like really well advertised, so I understand if nobody really catches it, but like the rule is that you have to whisper all the time. And that, like, if the viewers at home can hear you, you're doing it wrong.
Yes, it was very quiet. They were eating some very watery soup, and we at that point I learned that her last trial was to kill her family, which, yeah, it's I don't know why that is a trial. But,
as they're all dying, I'm like, well, I guess they're not going to be living in the palace with her. Like,
coughing up blood because she poisoned them.
This was to make her more, for us to connect with her, or feel a connection to this character, right? That's why.
I mean, I think that was the purpose, to give her
Was
like a
it?
tragic backstory, but it was just,
She didn't seem that upset about it.
it's just dumb.
No, not at all.
this reminds me of a joke, though.
Do you want to tell the joke?
No, I just brought it up for no reason. So this soldier's going through like special operations training and like secret undercover mission training. In the very last step of the training, he's handed a pistol and he's told, in your very next room is your commanding officer. I need you to go in there and shoot him dead. And the guy goes in, and outside you just hear bang, 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 click, and then a bunch of like weird like meaty thump sounds. And the guy comes back out covered in blood, and they're like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And he goes, "Well, it turns out the gun was filled with blanks, so I just beat him to death."
Nice.
Thanks. I foreshortened it a lot from when my dad told it to me.
That's good. That's probably a good thing. It's probably a
Dad
good thing.
tells the longest jokes.
He does. He's fucking long ass jokes. Love you,
So
Dad.
anyway. So young lady has killed her family. I don't think it's actually mentioned, but that it's Giorgio in this, but it is. But big ship comes down from the sky. It's just enormous ship.
Dad, that's a big ship.
Yeah, a bunch of Terran dudes like beam down in a column, which is cool, I guess. To greet their new emperor, this young lady who just murdered her entire family.
A
Just
column,
real
as in
Terran.
like a column of troops, not
Yes.
like they were
Like
all
stacked
standing
up
on
on
each
top of
other's
each other.
shoulders, which would also be cool. but a very different vibe.
Yeah, quite different. More of a circus atmosphere in that
And
case.
there's like beaming down one of those like cactus things from Mario.
So I guess the current empress talks about.
I don't think it's a current empress. I think it's just like it's like a chancellor. It's like whoever's in charge of like
who's
the
ever in charge
exchange
right
of
now,
power.
custodian.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's the adjudicator.
Yeah.
It was not clear what her actual title was.
Yeah, She says, "Well, your friend was a coward and didn't murder his family like a coward, and now everybody's on fire because he fucked up." So they're as always, Terran's real bunch of good dudes. There's some nonsense said here, and apparently she now owns her friend San, I guess is his name.
Yeah.
And to mark that occasion, she burns the fuck out of his face with a hot
Oh
sword.
my god,
Dude.
What a conveniently placed hot sword for her to burn her friend with.
What did they heat the sword on?
The sword. So her dad was literally anviling it at the beginning, and then left it in the forge, the hot
forge, I
coals,
guess.
the fucking
Yeah.
fire bath. I don't know how sword forging works. But he left it in there when he saw her come over the hill. So it was just there from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Because he left it in there and they had dinner and they probably chatted for a bit before dinner and yeah.
And my understanding of her motivation here was that this was the only way for them to be together. Because, like, I guess in the Hunger Games, one of them has to die, but this
There
was
could
her
be only
solution.
one.
Yeah,
Right.
this is her solution. Like, she owns him, and that way they can actually be together.
Yeah, it was dumb. I get it. Yep. It was real dumb and stupid. But yeah, so tragic backstory established. We are back to the present. Present, I
Ooh.
guess, is the operative word in the Star Trek universe. This takes place like a while after Discovery goes to the future, right? That's what we figured out.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, we get a massive exposition dump in some sort of like secret agent style, like computer debrief thing.
It is the dumbest shit I've ever seen put to film. Like, it looks like a Call of Duty mission briefing. Like,
It even sounded like one.
I don't know
Yeah.
why this style was chosen for this, but it's like breaking the fourth wall, kind of acting like we are getting mission briefed on
Right.
Philippa Georgiou, but they got to dump because this movie is apparently like trying to appeal to non-Star Trek people. They got to dump a bunch of fucking like Philippa
Lore.
Georgiou lore
Yeah.
into the first like 3 minutes of the movie.
Yep. So after the exposition dump, we get a slow zoom on a very elaborate looking space station. It's like this like pinwheel thing. I don't know. It's like all anyway. You have to look up a picture. I can't really explain it.
It looks like a very squat Christmas ornament.
Mm-hmm. We kind of zoom. We kind of do the slow zoom into this bar area where the Fifth Element lady is doing a song, and
There's a radical
Georgiou.
electric guitar going.
Mm-hmm. Georgiou strolls through the dance floor looking all fancy.
And her boots.
Mm-hmm. You got this
Oh,
weird
yeah.
chain mask thing going on.
That's right. Georgiou wears like platform like 6-inch heels the whole fucking movie.
Yep.
The whole movie.
These boots are made for kicking your ass.
Mm-hmm. So Georgiou meets with this bearded man. Has a little eyeball snack, which she seems to very much enjoy.
Did anyone else think that her eating eyeballs was a little too reminiscent of like Jabba eating the frogs?
I didn't make that connection.
Nope, that'd be just you.
I've
Alright.
seen other movies where characters ate eyeballs in a very similar fashion, so it made me think of those.
It looks like he's at first trying to sell some type of drugs or something. He has this box of sparkly dust.
Like the sparkly dust was so ridiculous, it looked like a joke. Like the movie makers were making a joke here.
So bearded man dumps it in their drinks. They down him. She like coughs up sparkly dust. It was weird. There's some shitty dialogue where Georgiou's like, "Ma, I know you're spies, blah blah blah," and she's bearded man's there, and he's like, "Well, you should join us. And here's my crew," and then we get the Ocean's 11 rundown of all the guys.
It's
we've
very
got-
it's very Guy Ritchie in its like styling, but like not done well
Yeah, we got-
because
it's like-
these people
it's
are
the
not
sh-
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, it's like it's the shapeshifter and the honeypot and the mech guy and the crazy Vulcan laughing guy, blue hair lady.
Blue hair lady.
Blue hair lady.
So do you know who Blue Hair Lady was? I didn't catch this until I read about it later.
Oh,
I also didn't catch it till I read about it later.
yeah. I also didn't catch it.
Well, I said it first, so I get to tell everybody. It turns
Go
out
ahead.
this is Rachel Garrett, who ends up being the captain of the Enterprise C, which shows up in that yesterday's Enterprise episode of TNG. What a stupid little Easter egg. Like, what a
Right.
wild little useless point to make in that. Like, this was so dumb.
Yeah. So
And
anyway,
Chris, bearded guy, that's Alok.
Yeah.
I'm looking up their names. Okay.
Alok, yes, I'm assuming that's his name. I don't.
I think it is actually
They said his
pronounced
name like
Sahar.
twice during the whole
It
thing.
is pronounced Alec, I believe.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they
That's-
say
yeah,
they call
Captain
him Captain
Alec.
mostly, but
Captain
like they
Alec,
say his
yeah.
actual name like twice. It's, like for half the movie, I was asking, "What's his name?"
Yeah.
So we get a little bit more backstory on the person, like and we get some names. Zeph is the mech guy. Quasi is the shapeshifter guy. Mel is the honeypot. The Vulcan is actually not a Vulcan. He's a tiny microorganism dude in a ship that's controlling this artificial body. His name is Fuzz. And the blue-haired lady is just some straight-laced Starfleet recruit who joined. So she's the straight man of the group.
Yeah, she's pretty much there so they get to say Starfleet.
Yeah.
But
pretty
also,
much.
like, doesn't Section 1, Section 31 is a part of Starfleet. So, like, who are these other fucking people?
Yeah, isn't Section 31 referring to Section 31 of the Charter of Starfleet?
Of, like, there's, like, Article 14, Section 31 or whatever, yeah.
Yep. So anyway, backstories here for the crew. So super useful information that doesn't come up again at all. We learn here that there's some supposed bio super weapon that they have to stop the sale of from this guy who's coming to the space station they're on. We get the outline of what the plan was originally when they were gonna, I don't know, sex up Giorgio with Beardy. And Giorgio was like, "No, I've got a better idea."
Yeah, they spend at least 10 minutes of like film time explaining their heist plan that they then don't do.
That they then don't do. Yep. So, we cut to Giorgio walking the target with his little box thing he's carrying to their room. She throws this little vibratey thing at the box and puts one on herself that takes both her and the box out of phase, but not her feet, so she doesn't go through the floor.
I was not looking when this happened, and when I looked up later during the fight scene, I was like, absolutely not, and looked back down. So it was...
Well, don't worry if you don't understand what phasing means, because they explain it very thoroughly right here. Because I think the subtitle of this movie, the subtitle is Star Trek Section 31, Exposition.
Yeah. I think you put it well, where they were trying to make it appeal to broader audiences that weren't just Star Trek fans, but they also wanted Star Trek fans to think that they were in on things. So they had to like explain all the Star Trek things or the sci-fi things that weren't just like, heist movie things.
Yeah, but like, I trust the American audience to be like, this device put something out of phase with the universe. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. I saw the second Ant-Man movie. Like, I get it. Like, I'm good.
They saw it happen. That's all. We don't need the exposition. It's fine. So she takes the thing from him, and then Alec or whatever his name is comes through and like punches dude across the room. Right as they're all patting themselves on the back for a good job done well. Some other dude walks through one of the walls.
It's another vibratey dude.
Yes, yeah, another phased dude. And there's a fight scene that ensues. Giorgio kind of fights him through the station, through various rooms. There's an Andorian and some other weird alien banging.
That weird alien, there's a piece of trivia about that weird alien.
This is Fun Facts with Stanford.
That weird alien is an alien that had previously only shown up in the Kelvin universe movies.
Oh, interesting.
Which put the Memory Alpha talk page about Section 31 in quite the tizzy.
That is...
Yeah, they're fucking dorks. Like that. I don't remember what the alien's called.
Podcast.
I don't. Right. I don't remember what the alien was called. It was a word I had never seen before. But like that specific alien is apparently a Kelvin universe alien.
Interesting.
Was it the one Kirk woke up with?
No, it's just kind of around. It wasn't actually.
No, it was very weird looking, as I recall.
It wasn't being green. Sent. Yeah, the one Kirk woke up with was just an Orion.
Yeah. Was it? Oh, okay.
So anyway, they take their fight onto the stage in like the main bar area, and then Mystery Dude grabs the case, and it gets kicked around a little bit. Oh yeah, and then Mel, who we just met before, jumps into the fight and then immediately gets vaporized.
Yeah, she's a Delton, so what she gets to do is she can instantly make men fall in love with her or whatever. But that's too useful, so she had to immediately die.
Yep. So then the box gets kicked through a wall, and Giorgio goes chasing after it, but her phase device thingy is kind of a little wonky, so her foot gets stuck in it.
Well, and I will say, like, this sequence is the first time where I noticed how shitty the camera work was for their action scenes. Because they do a lot of spinning and shit with the camera that is not, like, useful. It's just disconcerting and annoying.
So the fight scenes in this seemed like very, like, early 2000s when every every Hollywood director decided that fight scenes needed to be more chaotic, so you actually didn't have to choreograph good fighting.
Right. And
It
like
was just a bunch of hard cuts,
and if the camera was moving, you can't keep track of the actors moving as well, so it's easier to let them just kind of stand there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I just need to say that like the use of weird wipe transitions in this movie, jarring. It's awful.
That being said by someone who likes Star Wars movies. So like
Yeah.
But yeah, like the fight scenes in this movie in general is one of those things where it's like, you have Michelle Yeoh. She's right there. What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah. That's a very good point. Yeah.
You know, a woman who got her name in a movie called Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and yet you're not going to let her actually do any fucking karate.
Well, then you'd have to like pay a fight choreographer, and you know they just didn't have the budget for that, or at least a good one.
Well, that's not new to Star Trek, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. So anyway, she's stuck on the wall reaching for this box, and mystery guy comes over and is nice enough to reveal to everybody, including the audience, what's in the box. He kind of opens the box and takes the thing out of it before he fucks off. And Giorgio is shocked at what it is. And is very alarmed and upset. And then we just head right into a flashback.
Goddamn. And the whoever wrote, directed, or whatever, whoever's in charge of this fucking movie thought they were the cleverest motherfuckers. And like, because they flash back and it like pops up the information that we've been getting. It's like a lifetime ago. It's like, all right, shut the fuck up.
I forgot it said that. Jesus Christ.
Fucking losers.
So yeah, it's Giorgio's past where she's emperor in the Terran Empire, and San, her friend whose face she fucked up, presents this thing that they just pulled out of the box to her, and she it's supposed to be some emergency device where she can go scorched several galaxies, I guess. I don't know if she loses, or several solar systems. I don't know. I wasn't quite clear on the expanse of this explosive thing,
or what it even does.
Same, I didn't know what it did.
They said that it like destroyed a sector of space. I don't know what.
So they were very general about it.
Yeah, like I don't know how big a sector is.
All we know is that it was so horrible that the engineers were like, of the Terran Empire, mind you, were like, oh my god, this is so bad, we're gonna kill ourselves. But also that it could kill like trillions of people at once. That's it. That's what we know. Like, I don't know if it just kills people. I don't know. It just seemed very dramatic.
Yeah, it seemed very generic, like fancy machine does bad things. That's all I know. And
they explain how phasing works, but they won't tell us what this fucking bomb does.
It goes boom. Bomb goes boom. And kills many people. So yeah, as you mentioned, the people who made the thing killed themselves, and San, who presented the device to her after she does some reminiscing and like, what happened to us, man? Like, what happened to us?
Like, I don't understand why our relationship had to change that dramatically now that I'm the evil empress and you're my lifetime servant. Like,
whose face I severely burned.
For really no good reason, I'm going to be honest. I just don't know why you've got such a stick up your ass about it, man.
Yeah. So anyway, after he presents the thing to her, he coughs up some blood, and we assume that he is dead.
Whoa, spoilers. But also,
spoiler alert, he's not dead.
This is the scene where I was like, I'm ready to call it. Michelle Yeoh is doing a fucking terrible job here. Like, because all the reviews we read were like, despite Michelle Yeoh's excellent performance, this movie was trash. I'm like, I don't think Michelle Yeoh had an excellent performance. Her delivery of "I forbid you to die" was the stupidest fucking thing I'd heard in a long time.
It was the dialogue. Whoever wrote this,
the dialogue didn't do her any favors, but her delivery of everything was terrible.
Dude, like the entire her acting while they're on the ship, or the bar called the Barham, I think it was called. It was like
so
Kirk level of overacting.
It was melodramatic.
It was very cringy. Yeah. So yeah, this thing's called the Godsend, by the way.
Which we know because there is extensive jokery about the Godsend as a name.
Wait,
right.
is it the Godsend or the God's End?
Yeah, that was the joke, yes.
That was
Yeah,
it.
no, he was making the joke. Yeah. But then they make it again later, and then again later.
They also comment about how it's very unclear by the name of it what it actually does.
Yeah, because
so
like
it's
if
like
you
the writers came up with a
mention-
name, and then we're like, this is a dumb name, but we're going to keep it. But to be, self-reflective of it, we're going to put a joke in the movie.
I'm genuinely surprised the writers of this movie didn't name it the MacGuffin just because they thought they could pull that off.
Yeah. So anyway, Giorgio had passed out, with her legs stuck in the wall or whatever, and she wakes up in confinement at some type of safe house, where Captain Beardy is told by her about the Godsend and what it does and how everybody's fucked. Captain Beardy says he is from the past, sort of. But no, he's an augment, which we learned, like, he wasn't originally an augment here, but then, like, some augments captured him and, like, turned him into an augment.
It's like
him.
Brand new information.
Yeah,
It's a verb now.
I don't know if y'all learned this, but like augment, like being an augment is like venereal disease. You can spread it around.
So yeah, at this point we get the sad backstory of Beardy, which I remember nothing of because it was pointless and dumb.
No, you basically gave the whole story.
That's what I remember.
The evil augment, like warlord woman, killed his family, but thought that he did a good job. Like thought that he was spunky, so she made him an augment and made him work for him.
I mean, she loosed him upon her enemies like Karlach from Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, but except he's definitely not a sexy demon with a fucking infertile engine in their chest. So
yeah, so much less cool.
Better beard though.
Yeah. Well, any beard. So yeah, we kind of do this zoom out to the surface where we get the obligatory slow walk of the remaining, I guess, crew, because Mel's dead at this point. We get the kind of the hero walk camera shot, which was stupid, because literally they're just like walking to a ship.
Are they walking to a ship? Because it looked like they were just walking
off the ship.
They were walking. No, they were walking out of the safe house.
Out of the safe house base.
It seemed like they were walking outside just to go have a meeting amongst the fire spitting place.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Speaking of this meeting, Giorgio is telling everybody about the big bomb. Starfleet Rachel is now brown ponytail and no longer blue hair, so important change there. So they gotta find out more about what's going on. So we get an interrogation scene with the guy who had brought the box initially to the station. Dada No, I guess is his name, or something.
Dada No, yeah.
Yeah. Giorgio does some punching, and then Beardy does some punching.
This guy, this scene was like, and the funny thing is, like, this scene is supposed to be the funniest scene in the movie. You could tell that because it was the only scene that was like in a trailer in any kind of coherent way. But it wasn't funny.
No, it was silly. We find out that this isn't actually the Dada No from this universe. He's from the Mirror universe, where he worked in a facility in the Terran Empire, which is where he got the Godsend, which I guess very lack security on a sector-destroying device.
The most terrible thing ever was just in some closet somewhere. Yeah.
I forgot to mention before, Giorgio had said that she had ordered it to be destroyed. Well, it didn't get destroyed.
Nope.
What's that?
Nope.
We find out that he made it to the primary universe, I guess we'll call it, by jumping from some rift that was created by ion storms crashing together.
Yeah, there's a convenient exposition guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He's like, blah, blah, blah. You're all fucked. The Terran Empire will find it. They'll be looking for that thing that disappeared, and then they'll come to the rift and conquer everything. Blah, 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 blah.
This dude is so annoying.
Yeah. And then explosions. Some shit explodes. Everybody goes flying. And then the guy who they were just interrogating is hella on fire, just all sorts of dead.
Just like straight up flames shoot.
Yeah. There's some discussion here. You know, they figure out that it was sabotage, and they've got them all.
Okay, so now we're doing a new movie.
Yep, everyone accuses each other. Nothing is accomplished. And then Garrett, Rachel Garrett suggests taking some garbage scow that there's a wreck of somewhere on the planet. And they also got to restore some comms relay. I didn't quite get what the comms relay portion was for. They didn't really spend that long on it.
The
They
comms
said
relay,
that they wanted to. They wanted to contact headquarters, like Section 31, and warn them about what was happening.
Because they don't have the bomb, right? Like, the mystery vibrating dude's got the bomb.
Right.
So they want to warn Section 31 about the bomb, but they need a subspace communications array, and the one at the safe house has been sabotaged.
Right. So yep, it's time to divide and conquer here, which when you have a mole is always the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So Fuzz, Quasi, and Giorgio go to the scow. Beardy and Garrett and Zeph go check out the relay. There's some, I don't know if we take notes. I know there's like a brief scene on the scow where they get there, where nothing happened. And then they cut back to the array, where Beardy and Garrett are kind of looking at the array, trying to figure out what's going on with it. And at this point, Zeph has disappeared, and so they go looking for him.
Well, okay, hold on. They find out that the scow needs one part to work, but so they gotta go back to they're like, well, fuck, we don't have that part, so the scow's broken. So they're gonna like, well, we'll head back and we'll tell everybody that the scow's not an option.
Right, as I said, not important because they just find that part randomly later.
Oh yeah, I know, but the fact that happens is only stupid when you learn how fucking random it is that they need this one part.
Yeah. So they're at the array, blah, blah, blah. Zeph goes missing. All of a sudden, the array fires briefly, like some kind of communication was sent. And then the piece that allows them to do that was sabotaged, so now nobody could communicate out. The three others are back from the scow, but at this point, Garrett isn't responding. Just kidding, she's back. And they're like, well, I heard somebody shoot, and then they ran. So Zeph is still missing at this point, so they go looking for him. Let's see. Beardy and Giorgio argue pointlessly.
And this is hard to follow based on how we're doing this, but like basically, like they think there's a mole. Garrett kind of goes missing at a moment when the mole would have been doing some shit, so they think that Garrett is the mole. But then they're trying to find the mech guy, and they think that he might be the mole because he also kind of went missing, but he ran off into the swamp. So they're gonna go find him in the fire swamp.
Yeah, the fire swamp. Yes. Yeah. Sorry if this isn't clear, but it was all so dumb. I didn't take great notes on this.
Yeah. So they find the mech guy dead. So obviously he wasn't the mole,
right.
And so now everyone's like just defaulting to Garrett being the mole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Then the other reason they think that it was Garrett was she had Zeph's blood planted on her, was it like under her fingernails or something?
Fingernail, yeah.
Right. So they suggest looking for recordings on Zeph because he's all mech'd out, and so he'd have cameras on him, I guess. And they watch this kind of video back, and they see like somebody's controlling Zeph. And realize that it is Fuzz, the guy who's tiny and just can control stuff from the inside. I guess he hacked into it.
So why wouldn't that be your first concern? Is that this microscope, whatever nano-organism can just, what's that one movie, flying down your throat hole and control your body?
Like
the
inner
Magic
space?
School Bus.
Wow, Rob and I went entirely different directions there.
Yeah.
Like, why was that not obvious?
Well, I guess, Zeph is really the only one that he can, like, control. Cause he's
Right,
just,
because
like,
he controlled the mech stuff. He didn't control the
Right.
down his throat.
Right.
Okay.
This is also where, like, out of nowhere, Giorgio concludes that Garrett, the straight-laced Starfleet officer, is actually a, quote, chaos goblin.
Oh, yeah.
That is a quote from the fucking movie.
Yep.
And it literally, like, she says, like, "Oh, you're a chaos goblin, ooh," and
she
in
owns
that
it.
tone.
And it becomes her whole personality.
Well, and Garrett's
the
like,
rest
"No,
of
I'm
the
not.
movie.
Shut up." But then, like, that's apparently true or something. I don't know. We'll get to it
Yeah.
later. But like, it's
Yeah, she also pulls out, like, a cool knife that she wants to do some torturing with.
fuck yeah, man. Cool knives are cool.
But at this point, they confirm it is indeed Fuzz who's the mole. Or Giorgio somehow is the first one to figure it out, even though it's tremendously obvious based on all of the evidence presented.
Yes, it is tremendously obvious based on all the evidence presented. But don't worry, the movie is going to now use clips from its own movie to show us all of the times where Fuzz could have done things, and therefore explain why it was Fuzz.
Yeah. But
So-
looks like he still has. They've moved at this point back into the facility. And when they confront Fuzz, he says, "Haha, I still have control of Zeph," and he uses him as a diversion to escape and jumps on this very convenient, like, turbo tram platform thing.
He hits the car chase dispenser and grabs the first car and rolls out.
Yeah, it's a, like, maglev platform that just hurtles through this tube. And so luckily, everybody else, minus Garrett, who at this point had been tied up, by the way, because she was the prime suspect before they figured out it was Fuzz.
Right, yeah, she was tied down. Well,
She
she's
gets left
handcuffed
behind
to a chair.
while Beardy and Giorgio and
Although-
Quasi chase.
So, okay. So, fucking, the leprechaun jumps on the platform and runs.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, fuck, we didn't mention his accent.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Here.
The Vulcan has got this wicked Irish accent that is
Wickedly
awful.
bad Irish accent.
Yes, because the actor is actually South African and does not do
South
a
African.
good...
Yeah.
Does
South
not
African.
do
He's got
a
these
good Irish accent.
Huge smile and big teeth, and
Big
that's
old
kind of
teeth.
like
Yep.
a weird thing about him as well, because he's a Vulcan and he's like smiling and laughing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely not annoying as fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like my first note is like, how do you spell leprechaun? So the leprechaun jumps on in the first car out of the dispenser and goes, and then everybody else except for Garrett jumps on the second car out of the dispenser and goes, and then we get this cut to Garrett who shrugs her cuffs just immediately, and then's like, I guess I'll just wait here, and then does. Like, she doesn't show back up during this car chase, so she just gets left the fuck behind. Like, then why do we give a shit about her shrugging her cuffs? Who put this movie together? Like, they have an entire character who just doesn't get to play in one of the fucking acts.
Yep. So we get to the one platform catching up to the other, and then we proceed with a very shaky camera fight scene.
Good
where
God, it
it's
was bad.
impossible to tell at all what's going on.
But it all pauses right before the leprechaun gets caught so that he can exposition some more.
Captain Beardy gets knocked off, but Quasi saves him, so it's just Giorgio and Fuzz at this point, because the Zeph's body had gotten knocked off at some point as well. They're at this point, by the way, they're now out of the tunnel and just flying in air. I don't know.
Well, they kind of like shoot straight
was.
up and then stop, so they're just like on a platform in like 100 feet in the air.
In the sky, yeah. So Fuzz like kicks her off, and it looks like she fell. But just kidding, she's still there, and she comes up behind. She crawls back up from the other side and stabs Fuzz in the back. At this point, as you mentioned, Fuzz, we get some exposition from Fuzz that says, "You thought Sam was dead, but he's actually alive." And then he gets beamed out.
Somehow, Sam returned.
That's that joke is always funny.
We cut to Sand's ship here, and Sand is talking to Fuzz, but like pulls the knife out of it. It was a dumb, pointless scene. This is just, I guess, to confirm that they're in cahoots. I guess I don't know.
Which we already knew, but okay, sure.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
those ship warps away without a Cherenkov boom, which is weird. And I know that doesn't mean anything to like a lot of people, but like when a Star Trek ship goes to warp, it does one thing. They all do the same thing. They do that little booshy boom light thing. And this one didn't. And it just fucking bothered me. Because it's like, are we a Star Trek movie or not? What are we doing?
Dude.
And if you had a soundboard, this is where you would insert Marvin the Martian.
Like, I had in my notes,
Where's
like,
the kaboom?
Where's the kaboom?
I had in my notes too, like back on the garbage scow when I think it was Garrett whipped out the tricorder. That's like the first time that the movie kind of felt like Star Trek, just because like it was a sound I recognized.
Yeah,
No.
because it played the tricorder noise. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not quite there yet. Because the others are at this point on the surface trying to figure out what to do because the comms are fucked up and they don't have the piece for the scow. And oh look, Captain Beardy had the piece for the scow the entire time.
Oh, look. If I notice, he has the specific vague
that?
MacGuffin they
Wait.
need.
I looked up and I was really confused. What? That was it? That was really? He just happened to have it?
Yeah, because the leprechaun escapes, and then
But he
Beardy's
had it the
like,
whole time?
Beardy's like, what the fuck? And then they're like, well, we can't use the scow because it needs this part. And he goes over to a drawer, pulls open the drawer, fishes out this piece of fucking metal and goes, you mean this part right here?
Did
and
he
everyone's
know?
like,
That's what they needed the whole
"Oh!"
time? That's what they needed the whole time.
Yeah. And
Oh my god.
I was not clear watching it whether or not he is the one who sabotaged the scow or just happened to also have that part.
Like, part of me wondered if he had it and he was hiding it because he was trying to like weed the mole out before
That's
they all left the planet.
The impression that I was under, I don't know if
And
I
if that's
assumed
what they
that.
were doing, that's fine, but that was a terrible way.
It was
I didn't
stupid.
It was very dumb.
understand
It was very
why.
dumb. Yeah. So yep, they take their newly found part to the scow. We get some percussive maintenance here, which gets the scow running. And everything is great. We get some garbage scow exposition here.
Yep, got some exposition. It's nice. Yep, I'm glad they found some time to squeeze some exposition in for us because I was feeling a little starved. It reminds me of that sound on TikTok. It's like, I don't want to alarm anyone, but I haven't had exposition in 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. So they talk about how it's got this tractor field thing and that's the only weapons it has, and it's not even a weapon, and blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. We get some quippy lines that quip, and they warp to chase Sand's ship. My note here was Sand the edgelords on his ship. I don't recall exactly what that was, but
it's because he's got like that sleek chair inside of his sleek bridge on his sleek ship.
He's got that gaming chair. Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, the scout catches up to them they're at the rift now, or just outside of the rift, and they fire some torpedoes at the mostly defenseless scow,
which like the leprechaun says in the stupidest way. Like I can't even do that crappy of an Irish accent. But he's like, I say we should use the torpedoes. Like oh my god!
I said we should. I can't even do it. I can't even do it.
I can't do his shit Irish accent. Like it's so. Oh my god!
Like think of the most racist sounding Irish accent you could.
Think of Lucky the Leprechaun, but like worst.
Yeah,
but like doing it badly. He says shite a lot because it's funny.
So
You'll never get me lucky photon torpedoes.
It turns out they're not that lucky because they hit them with like one, but then they like miss some other ones, and the scow managed to maneuver in close to Sand's ship and hook him up on the tractor field and proceed to tow him through some dangerous radiation, I guess. Some things in the ship get explodey. Giorgio and Beardy beam over to Sand's ship. Fuzz immediately stabs Beardy.
He does too.
Yeah, he does.
Just right away. And Giorgio shoots Fuzz right after that. And then Sand confronts Giorgio. uh, some yak here. Why couldn't we, be friends? It's because you burned the fuck out of my face and you suck now.
She tries to hug
Mhm.
him.
Yeah, well, that's in the middle of the fight. She tries to hug him.
She wants to hug it out, man.
They knock. They proceed to fight. They knock the godsend, which just the slightest tap starts its exploding
So
sequence.
the
Yep.
massive super weapon that is genetically locked so that the Empress is the only person that can activate this horrifying death weapon turns on because it gets slightly knocked against the floor.
Yeah. So we've got a timer now. Fuzz kind of fights with Beardy a little bit, but then ends up making his escape on it was like some secondary ship that was on Sand Ship, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, on like a shuttle or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuzz then proceeds to go into run into the scow, which causes it to lose its tractor lock on Sand Ship. Back with Giorgio and Sand monologues.
Yeah, I have. Oh, thank fuck, some exposition. Now it's starting to get lost.
Yeah. And my note was here that he also feels up his own titty. I don't.
What?
I don't specifically remember that. I do have my next note is there's nothing he hates more than hugs.
Yeah. As you guys mentioned, they continue tussling. So I mentioned Fuzz escaped. He escaped in his, he left his body behind with
Yeah,
fighting
the
Fury
evil
Beatty.
leprechaun Vulcan body is still there.
Yeah. Fighting with Beardy. On the scow, Garrett digs through the trash in the scow and finds a very creepy toy. And we get some exposition here about how the aliens who made this toy
I
use
forgot about
explosive
that
things that are
exposition
powered.
too.
Yeah. So they're gonna improvise that as an explosive to attack Sand Ship. Giorgio fights with the power of hugs and love, but Sand just isn't having it. We get some backstory and exposition callback, so Quasi can press a button.
Right,
to
because
dump the garbage.
Quasi's backstory is that he's not decisive.
Right.
So
We got that
now
in,
that
in,
becomes
in the
relevant.
2 minutes of backstory he got at the very beginning of the movie.
right.
He's such a prankster.
Yep.
He's indecisive, and Garrett is a chaos goblin. That's why she's going to use the creepy doll to explode things.
Yep. I was gonna say, punching continues. Fuzz's body gets stabbed in the face. They dumped the garbage in the scow where the doll explodes and says creepy things. Says creepy things and then explodes. And that ends up killing Fuzz's actual body that's in that shuttle that he escaped on. Sand then tries to stab Giorgio, but she kicks the sword and he slashes his own neck.
Sand grabbed his Power Ranger sword off the wall
Yeah.
and then was driving it through her cheek with his entire body weight, but somehow it wasn't working.
Yeah. Her only defense was the grip that she had with her two hands on the blade.
On the blade itself.
Very secure, very easy way to hold something when, you have several hundred pounds of pressure pushing downward.
Right, or at least 150 or so. I mean, he wasn't a huge dude. But then, she kicks the Power Ranger sword and slashes his neck with
it. Yeah. We get some very squelchy blood noises as we get
oh my god, I forgot about that part. It's some very wet blood noises for some reason.
Yeah, as Sand dies. Giorgio then picks up the bomb thing, and it speeds up the countdown so she can bomb the rift passage and close it. We get some tension building scene here where the scout crew can't beam them off, so they're gonna have to explode themselves and save everybody. Psych, no consequences, everybody lives. The end. Not quite the end, but
not quite the end, because somehow this South African dude has an accent worse than his Irish accent.
right. Because after we find out that everyone actually did make it out and there were no consequences, they end up back at the weird station thing we started the movie at. We get a very I don't know. It seemed, I don't want to say tone deaf because this movie couldn't really decide on a tone, but it was just like a very like yuck, we made it out, per her, quip,
Yep.
quip.
Yeah, quips.
And we get the fuzz replacement.
Which is the same body, so it's the same actor, but it's a
Right.
different mini guy inside.
I guess just they had that replacement on deck. And this time he has a terrible Southern accent.
A
Which is
terrible
somehow,
Georgian Southern accent. He's supposed to
somehow
be from
worse than the
Savannah,
Irish
Georgia,
one.
or some shit. Yeah.
This
Yep.
reminded me, Stanford, of that story you told me about like the kobold that you made in a D&D campaign, and every time it died, like you just got another kobold.
Oh yeah.
It was
Oh
like
yeah,
named
Freepo.
just a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was a Freepo. I had Freepo, Meepo, Steepo, Greepo, and now actually our Roomba, because of those characters, our Roomba is called Sweepo.
Yep.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And right after we meet that new old character, we slow pan out and end the movie on a Yo Mama joke, which
Yes, literally.
Yep.
I like not even not even like the spirit of a Yo Mama joke or like metaphorically a Yo Mama joke. Literally, the words Yo Mama came out of the fucking actor's mouth. That was the last line of the movie.
Listen,
Fade
it's
to
okay
black.
though, because like you see, guys, you know it's a Star Trek movie because right after that they play the Star Trek Sting.
Yeah. You know how, because
Yeah.
famously Star Trek like loves Yo Mama jokes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it really worked out pretty well, actually. I
Yep.
was impressed.
so
Fuck.
you know what we got to do now.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
On a scale of 1 to 5, where 0 is threshold. Where
No.
does this-
We're gonna list the movies we would rather see than this shit.
all of them?
Well, I mean, her point is like, so not too long ago we watched Rebel Moon, which was a fucking terrible movie. I would
Rather watch
watch it twice than this.
Yeah, I would.
I would rather watch Sphere,
Sphere, yeah, which was also dumb. We watched
Gladiator.
Gladiator is just a good movie. We also
Sorry,
watched
the Gladiator.
the
Gladiator
second
2.
Gladiator movie. Yeah, that was dumb, but it was better than we watched Borderlands. Fucking terrible
Oh
movie.
yeah, I'd watch that.
I'd watch that more than this one. This was
The
just
Eternals. The
it's
Eternals.
objectively not a good movie.
Yeah. So, but we do have to rate it. We do
Sorry.
have to rate. We do have to rate. All right. Where are you guys at?
0.
Jesus Christ.
This is threshold levels of bad in my mind. The
Oh
only
man, this is so much
thing-
worse than Threshold.
The only character that I wasn't completely annoyed by in the entire movie was Garrett.
The only redeeming quality of this movie is it was only an hour and a half long.
Garrett,
Yeah, that's fair.
Garrett had like 12 lines the entire movie. So like you're not wrong, but only
That
because
probably
you didn't
helped.
have the opportunity. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Stanford?
So I'm actually gonna give it a 4.
No, you're not.
No, I was gonna give it a 1 because like it didn't. So I gave Cogenitor a 0, I think, because like that gave me.
Would
that-
you have rather watched Cogenitor?
I don't think so because I have an ethical issue with Cogenitor in a way that like this movie doesn't bother me my paladin side. It's just dumb.
Dumb, yeah.
So like I would give it a 1.
Yeah, that's where I ended up as 1. It was just dumb and pointless. It was a 1.
Jeez, this is the first time I've rated something lower than the two of you.
Morbius.
Just had
I
this
would rather
conversation like
watch
2 episodes ago.
than
did.
this
Morbius.
movie.
Oh yeah. Madame Web.
Madam Web.
Oh.
Absolutely, I'd watch that movie instead of this one.
Hmm.
Star
Man, I
Star
cannot-
Wars Christmas special.
I have not seen it, but I would rather go
I
watch
would
it for the
gladly
first
watch
time. Yeah.
the Star Wars Christmas special. I have
Yeah.
not either.
I would rather watch. Oof, man.
I can't think of a movie. I this may be the worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh man, it's not the worst I've ever seen, but
What is,
it-
Rob? Like, what can you
Oh,
think of that's
dear
worse
Lord.
than this?
Matthew,
um,
I'd rather watch that Adam Driver like weird ass movie that we watched that John suggested.
Oh,
that we
White
would like.
Noise? That was just like pointless. It wasn't dumb. It was just like not for us. It was too postmodern for me.
I remember watching a Christmas movie, but Santa was evil and he killed people with a chainsaw. That was
I would-
Already better.
Already better.
Better. I would listen
rather
to you
watch-
tell me about it for an hour and a half instead of this fucking movie.
I would rather watch every dumb formulaic Hallmark Christmas movie.
100%, Chris. You and me. Absolutely.
Oh my god. All right, well, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back. All right, welcome back. So this will be a pretty quick deep dive. My original idea for a deep dive on this movie was to go find a list of like better movies that this movie was trying to emulate, like Ocean's 11 and Men in Black and like Guy Ritchie movies and stuff. But I realized that would require me to watch the movie again, and I was not going to do that.
I
So
don't blame you.
instead, I want to talk a little bit about the background of this movie, like how it came to exist.
Okay.
But again, this will be pretty quick. So my original question for this movie in going into this research was, who the fuck's idea was this? Whose idea was this goddamn movie? And in the Wikipedia article about this movie, they have a whole background section. And the first sentence is, during production of the first season of the Star Trek Discovery, special guest star Michelle Yeoh suggested to executive producer Alex Kurtzman that they make a spin-off feature series featuring her character, Philippa Georgiou. And I was like, Michelle Yeoh, you bitch. How dare you? But the next sentence made less sense. Yeoh made the suggestion because she loved playing the character and because she wanted to be a role model for young Asian women. Which is like, is that the role model you want to be? But then I thought about it. Wait a minute. This is in season 1. The evil emperor character had not shown up yet.
Oh, yeah.
So Kurtzman apparently was like, I don't know if we can do a fucking spinoff about a show that we haven't even released yet. Because remember, this is still during the production of the first season that she came up with this idea.
Yeah, because at that point, she was still like the surrogate parent to Burnham.
Right, exactly. But after her portrayal of the good universe, Georgiou became quite popular among the people who called Discovery a show that they enjoyed watching. They were like, well, then how about we start doing this Section 31 shit with the Emperor and stuff? And that's when, because I believe they went into the mirror universe in season 2. I think that's right. So that's where like she became evil. Now, I guess Georgiou was still on board with let's do Evil Me as a move as a spin-off. The original concept was a spin-off show. I don't know whether or not Georgiou thought through the idea that like, or not Georgiou, Yeoh. I don't know that Michelle Yeoh thought through the idea that like maybe she wouldn't be a great role model if she's a fucking genocidal Nazi dictator. But like, I guess Discovery doesn't mind, so fuck it. So they got the go-ahead from the kind of the higher-ups to start working on this show, and apparently they had a bunch of it fucking scripted due to some production delays before they even started filming it. Which means they had like episodes and episodes worth of scripts done. And the show kept kicking the can down the road. The primary issue was that because they had Discovery, they had Picard, and they also had Strange New Worlds, that Paramount was like, we're not going to have another ongoing Star Trek show until something else shuts down. But Kurtzman and them were like, well, we'll keep working on it. They were allowed to keep like spending the budget to work on this show as well as Starfleet Academy. And then after, they're like, yeah, we're still working on it. Then there was this weird silence about the show for like a year. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we're making a movie instead of a show.
Always a good sign.
Yeah. They realized that they had all of these scripts. We've got all these scripts. What should we do? And instead of picking a storyline to like find and make a movie about, they took those scripts and condensed them into a movie.
Oh, no.
So that explains kind of why everything in this movie is given like 12 seconds of screen time and then they move on. in
Yeah.
terms of like lore, but it also
Yeah.
explains why there's so much fucking exposition, because they don't have time to actually show all of this stuff that they wanted to cram into this movie. They just had to tell us about it, because it's faster to tell us than it is to show. One of the lines in this I thought was kind of very funny to me as a extraordinarily leftist person. Osun Sanmi said they worked really hard to make sure we kept up the ideals of optimism and kept up the ideals of what do we want our society to be in the future. He compared Section 31 to the CIA. Dude, what the fuck, man? So they ended up doing this film. It was filmed very quickly, which also makes a lot of sense after having watched it. Like, yeah, I'm not surprised that they managed to film this very quickly. Let's see. Because the whole project was over within a few months. Yeah.
Wow.
They were originally planning for this to be like an ongoing series, not like even a mini series, but like an ongoing, like several year run. But instead they condensed the scripts that they had written down into this movie, filmed the whole thing. Like, they started filming 2 Januaries ago. So they started filming and got the whole movie filmed, edited, CGI'd, and in the can and streamed in literally 1 year. 12 months. That is an incredibly fast schedule for an hour and a half feature-length film.
Yeah.
So I guess that points out that, like, it is no surprise that the movie was, shall we say, poorly received. The most generous critic was like, it's not great. It doesn't seem to know what it wants to be. Some of the more harsh ones are calling it like unwatchable slop, which is, I would say that's pretty harsh, but I gotta be honest, that's about right for this one. So I don't want to belabor the point. This movie is plagued by a lot of issues. I don't think that a Section 31 series would have been any better, if I'm totally honest. But at least they would have given the plots time to actually breathe and would not have relied so heavily on exposition. This film, what little substance the plots had, was drained out in these things that are plaguing it because it was a bunch of scripts that were kind of condensed into one movie.
Like, I know we talked about this before at another mention of Section 31. It might have been in the last arc that we were just watching. But, like, I don't think that the people who made this movie understand that Section 31 are villains.
Yeah,
They're not,
absolutely.
They're not good people. They're
But
not
neither
supposed to be Starfleet.
Discovery didn't understand that either.
Right.
Like, Section 31 has been, like, glorified since...
Yeah, I think they're portrayed in this movie as like anti-heroes, which I think are also a very misunderstood term and overused term in media today.
Right.
Like, I don't even, besides like Giorgio, just because you know about her past from the very first in the movie, nobody else is really like an anti-hero in this.
No, they're just silly.
Just like misfits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett's not even a fucking problem, except that she's a chaos goblin, because we were told that by Giorgio in that one line. Yeah, so I don't know. I a lot of people are trying to be very generous and like, this movie doesn't know what it wants to be. And like, I don't disagree. This movie does lack for identity, but I don't want that to sound like it's the only thing that's wrong. This movie is like objectively has problems at pretty much every level of like critique you can you can leverage against a movie. The acting is not great, and not even from Yo. Like, the acting is poor. The dialogue in general, like line writing, is not good. The quips are tired and crappy. The camera work is jarring to an almost nauseating degree. Yeah. And the overall plot and core writing of the story is just nonsensical. It's just not a good movie. Anyways, that's what I got. I didn't want to, like we hit it pretty hard in the first section, so I didn't want to go too long into this. So if y'all got nothing else, then we'll cut to our next break and we'll come back with some potpourri.
All right, everybody, welcome back. For Potpourri, I thought it would be fun to return to an old segment that I did a while back. Stanford, you will probably remember this because I think you really liked it. We're going to go through all of the Star Trek movies and their reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. And using Price is Right rules, I'll quiz both of you on the critic and the viewer percentages for each.
No, I
thought
didn't.
it
I
would be
didn't
fun
like
to
this
look
at
at them
all.
again.
It disheartened me how mean everybody was.
I think you'll feel better about this one.
All right.
I think you'll feel better. Sorry, I just remember you liking it because like you were pretty spot on.
Only like the first one. The first one I was like dead ass on, and then the rest of them I was off. Although I think I may have won by like 1 point.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna do these in chronological order. So starting off with Star Trek: The Motion Picture. We'll go back and forth. Chris, you'll go first. What do you think the critic rating was? It's based on a 100% scale.
Okay, I was gonna say just for the audience review.
Yep.
But yeah, and for which one? Star Trek: The
For
Motion
the
Picture?
critics. Yep. For the original movie. Yep. The motion picture.
So long ago. I don't even know how to like rate it. Let's say 72.
All right. Stanford.
I'm gonna go with like an 82.
Okay. So this is not a good example of how I think you're going to feel better about this one. 52%. Critics
okay.
give it a 52%.
I'm
was
also not surprised about that.
I'm not surprised at all. That movie was terrible.
Yeah, that was just that was a hard one for me to guess because they didn't have a whole lot back then.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
And also the critics are like, it's tough to gauge because I never know on Rotten Tomatoes is it critics of the time or is it critics now? Like the popcorn meter is easier to figure out for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chris, what do you think the viewer rating was for this one?
65.
Stanford.
I'm gonna go higher again. I'm gonna go 75.
42%.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I know I don't like it, but that's one of those movies where I just assumed that I don't like it, but I'm an asshole.
Right.
All right. So no points for either of you for that round. All right. Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan.
Oh man. All right. So I know what I think everybody's gonna say.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say the critics were more critical.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say the critics gave it a 75.
All right. Chris?
I'm gonna say 80.
Chris takes this one. 86. They give it 86%.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Stanford, viewer.
95.
95. Oof. Say 86.
90%. Chris takes it again.
Only 90. Only 90 for Wrath of
90.
Khan.
For Wrath
Jesus
of Khan.
Christ.
Yep.
I don't like Rotten Tomatoes. No, this game sucks, Rob. I hate you.
All right. The Search for Spock. Chris, what do you think the critical rating was?
54.
Stanford?
40.
Man, you guys are rough. No, 79%.
Jesus.
Fuck off. Fuck off.
That's not a good movie. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not fine. It's
fine.
trash. It's trash. Plus, she has sex with a teenager several times.
Yeah, that's not great.
Chris, what do you think the viewer percentage was?
What was the critic percentage?
79%.
82.
God, 72.
Oh, man. So close. 71%.
Damn
No
it.
points for either. All right, Stanford. The
No,
Voyage
it's Chris's
Home.
turn.
Oh, Chris, The Voyage Home. Critic.
Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. It is my turn.
Yeah, it is your turn. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going back and forth with who starts.
Voyage Home. See, Voyage Home was pretty good. Critics though, yeah, they're being a little harsh. 75.
I was gonna say 65. Like I feel like critics didn't love this one.
81%.
Fuck yeah! Boom.
Wow. Okay.
All right, Chris, viewers.
No, it's me.
Yep. Still Stanford.
All right, Stanford, viewers.
Woo, Stanford. They liked it more, I think. I'm gonna go with 80.
Chris.
86.
Stanford, 81%.
Nice. Got that one.
All
Love
right.
saving whales.
Chris, The Final Frontier, Star Trek 5.
70.
60.
I'm sorry, we were looking for 23%.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
oh god. I knew it was bad. It is the worst of the original crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was 23% bad though. Holy fuck. Cause I'm gonna be honest, I much like that. I like that movie way more than Search for Spock. Search for Spock was a dumb movie to me.
Interesting. I would disagree. I liked Search for Spock. All right, Christopher, viewer score.
35?
Oh Jesus. It's gotta be above 50, right? I'm gonna go with 50.
25%.
Fuck. Wow, people really hated that movie.
Yeah, they did not like it. Nobody
Crazy.
seemed to enjoy it. I don't remember whose turn it was. Stanford, The Undiscovered Country.
Boy, I like this one. This is the first one I saw in the theater. Yeah, but I'm sure everyone else hated it though. But not 23 hated it. I'm gonna go with 75 again.
Okay. Chris,
50.
83%.
Damn.
Oh shit.
Stanford takes it. All right, viewers.
I'm gonna go with 80.
Christopher.
85.
84%.
I almost just said 83 to match up with the first one.
All right, so leaving the original series movies behind. So far, we've got Chris with 3, Stanford with 4.
Nice.
All right, now for the TNG era movies. Chris, why don't we have you start? Star Trek Generations.
Ooh, that's
Critics.
a tough one.
Critics, I'm gonna say 60.
Stanford.
Boy, I feel like this one may have done better than that in terms of the critics. I'm gonna say 70.
47%.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't well.
I know,
reviewed.
I know it's
it was not well
but it had
received.
Ian McDowell in it, so I thought maybe he could, pull some star power there.
I feel like I remember watching this with my dad, and I remember the critics being really harsh on it, saying that they brought out the original series veterans to try and prop it up, which is kind of an insult to the TNG crew.
Especially since the TNG TV series was objectively more successful than the original.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Much, more successful, more widely popular. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in every measurement.
Yeah. All right, Christopher, viewer percentage.
It's got to be higher, right?
Because what'd you say it was for critics? 40 something?
47%.
It's got to be higher than that.
55.
Ooh.
All right, Stanford.
65.
57.
Nicely
Size it
done,
up.
Chris.
All right.
Nice.
All right, Stanford. First Contact. What do you
Oh
think the
man,
critics
see this
gave
is
it?
This is going to be hard for us.
This is going to be real rough for us. This is going to be real rough. S rank, no notes.
As for
Critics.
Stanford.
I'm going to be generous and say 80.
All right,
All
Chris.
right. 85.
They gave it a 93%.
Okay.
Holy
All right,
shit. Okay.
I know
Alright.
it was well received, but I didn't think it was that well received.
Not by
Yeah.
the critics, no. Crazy.
Stanford, viewer percentage.
94.
Jesus Christ. What? You leave me with few options here.
Yeah. You could either be a dick or you could go be wrong.
Yeah. You said 94?
I did.
Oh, you suck. Shit. 90.
So this one surprised me because the viewers gave it a weaker score, 89%.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was very
Ah.
shocked about that. I was not shocked about this one. Insurrection.
Oh boy.
You weren't shocked. Okay, that's a pretty big clue, Chris.
20%.
Damn it, fuck you. All right, for the critics, 30.
Oh, okay. I mean, Stanford's going to take it. They gave it a 55.
Wow.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
How are they going to rate? They're going to give this one a 55. They gave the fucking Final Frontier 25 or some odd percent.
23.
And they gave Insurrection a 55.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. All right.
All right. Viewer percentages. Chris.
60?
Ooh, I was going to say 40.
You'd still say 40.
4%.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, man. These movies are not going up in the scores from here on out. Like,
no. All right. Stanford, Nemesis.
we're talking critical reviews of Nemesis.
Uh-huh.
That was the last one?
That's the last one.
Oh, man. 15%.
Yeah.
Chris.
21.
Chris takes it. 38. They gave it a
wow.
38.
38. Fuck
Yeah.
off.
More than I thought.
Yeah.
Stanford, what do you think the viewers gave Nemesis?
15%.
20.
This one also surprised me. 49%.
Fuck off. Fuck right the fuck off.
Yeah.
How? It's a terrible movie. It's so
don't
bad.
know. All right. So leaving TNG era, Chris pulled 4 out of here to Stanford's 2. So Chris is now leading by 1. All right. Kelvin timeline movies.
These are going to be tough.
These are tough because they're all pretty well received.
I feel like that's correct.
Chris, what do you think Star Trek?
88.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Stanford.
Ooh, boy, I feel like I remember the critics being very, very happy with this one. I'm going to go with 95.
94.
Fuck!
The same thing happened to you that happened to me. Shit.
Yeah. All right. Chris, what do you think the viewers gave him?
92.
Stanford.
95?
91.
I think that's something.
Damn.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. No points awarded. Into Darkness. Stanford, what do you think the critics gave?
80%.
You said 80?
Mm-hmm.
85.
84.
Damn it.
Yeah, it feels good being on this side.
I should just guess 4s from now on because there's no 5s.
Stanford, what do you think the viewers gave Into Darkness?
I'm going to go down to 75.
All right. Chris?
80.
89.
All right.
Really? That surprises
me. I was also surprised. Like they're effectively 2 points down from Star Trek, which like I liked Into Darkness. I don't think that it was.
I thought it was demonstrably worse. Like not a bad movie.
I don't agree. I don't agree that it was and maybe we are a good example of why this movie's doing better than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree that it was demonstrably worse. I thought it was about the same. I thought that people were pissed because like it was touching on everyone's favorite movie. But I don't give a fuck. Like to me they're not the same, right? So I don't compare them. But like I don't know, it's the same action-y popcorn flick that the first one was. It was great. It was fine.
At its core, yeah. I don't disagree there.
You know, like it's beautiful people, nice, fucking effects, and a coherent enough storyline to carry them through. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
That's all. And to be honest, that's all 3 of the Kelvin movies.
All right, Chris. Star Trek Beyond. What do you think the critics gave them?
75.
Stanford.
80.
Stanford takes it. 86.
Yeah.
Chris, viewer percent for Star Trek Beyond.
81.
Stanford.
Fuck. 75.
Chris, you keep doing this to yourself, man. 80.
God damn it.
80%.
Nice.
All right. So out of the Kelvin timelines,
I think
Stanford has
takes
tied it up.
Oh, okay.
He took 3 to Chris's 2. So we are
Okay.
tied going into the ratings for section 31.
We
We
already
already
went
did
over
this.
this, though. Do you remember what it was?
I just edited that episode, and I was looking at them on Wikipedia.
Okay.
All right, great.
So you need a better tiebreaker, baby.
Oh,
Is there hold on? Is there an obscure Star Trek TV movie or some shit that you could go to?
oh my god.
Like a special.
Yeah, something that we don't know about.
What about the animated series? I don't think we did that in
we did.
Oh, we did. Did we do Prodigy? Yeah, we did Prodigy because we were talking about the awards that it won. You know what? We're gonna do Galaxy Quest.
Oh, good. Oh, that's a good one. Good job,
Yeah,
Rob. That's a good one.
tiebreaker. Galaxy
I just watched
Quest.
that with Liam the other day. Holy fuck, that fucking movie's great. Maybe Tim
All
Allen's
right.
best work since he turned out to be a douchebag.
All right, who's going
Stanford.
first?
Stanford, what do you think the critics rated this?
Critics rating for Galaxy Quest. Do I
Uh-huh.
think the critics got it? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give the critics an 85.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe I'm making this up. I seem to remember it bombing critically.
Really? I don't remember that.
I'm going to say 55.
Oh, they gave it a 90.
What?
Yeah, fuck you, Chris.
Damn, okay.
Yeah.
Color me surprised.
All right. Viewer ratings. Stanford.
95.
Chris.
80.
God damn it, you tied it up. 79.
No, he didn't
No,
tie
I
it up.
didn't get it. I said 80.
No, he failed.
Oh, you did say 80. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yep, you're right.
it somehow
How
happened to
the
be for a
fuck?
All
sixth
right, thank
time.
you.
How the fuck
By
did the
one.
users only give that a 79?
I don't know, man. This is such a fun movie.
And everyone I've ever heard talk about it says it's great.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know.
Well, in your fucking face, Chris.
By 1 point. Oh, that's
Yeah.
freaking funny.
How many times did I overshoot by one? It felt like at least 5.
I did it once or twice.
There
as
were
well.
at least 4 times there that you did that, I think.
Oh man, that's the worst.
That's so funny. All right. Well, I don't even remember if Chris said it at the top, but
He did.
please remember to like, subscribe, rate, review, tell your friends about us, tell your enemies if you want to torture them with us for, cruel reasons. I don't know. But anyway, we will be back next week with another episode, returning back to Star Trek Enterprise for its last season. Only a couple more episodes left. Yeah. But thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.